Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on You Have Questions, We Have Answers. My name is Shawn Harris with Fidelity Title.
And I'm Alix Meyer.
Today we want to talk about something that we have seen dramatically increase even in the last 12 months, and that is the issues around wire fraud. You know, Aaron and Lindsay Fisher and their children had found their dream home, and they were all set to close when everything went terribly wrong. They were hit with what is known in the real estate world as wire fraud. And it's a growing scheme. The hackers are infiltrating legitimate email conversations. They're sending fake wiring instructions. And this couple happened to be hit in the crosshairs of all of that. And we're seeing it as an ever-increasing crime, and quite frankly, a more common crime. And according to the FBI, consumers have lost more than $220 million in schemes like this just in this year of 2020. And Alix, that's a 13% increase from the same period last year.
It is truly amazing, and it's actually very sad. But the criminal hackers have become very sophisticated, in their approaches, and also there, are universities out there where they're being schooled on how to make it seem more realistic. Whether they're hacking into somebody's email or they're making a phone call and pretending to be somebody else. So a couple of things that, if I were in the shoes of even ourselves, our everyday lives, we're subject to the same thing. But if I was an agent, a buyer, a seller, or a lender, or an escrow holder, or whatever the case may be, you want to be ever so vigilant when it comes to reading your emails and making sure that that email is coming from the right person. So an example would be, my name is spelled very uniquely. It's Alix, right? But they could easily change one letter in my last name to make it look like the email was coming from me. And if that's the case, they're sending it to the buyer and they're saying, hey, we changed our wire instructions. This would be the escrow holder perhaps, or maybe it's even the escrow holder getting something from a payoff lender saying to send the funds to a different, payoff. And so one of the things that we've done at Fidelity to ensure that those things don't happen on our behalf is we have several different checkpoints, when it comes to wiring funds to protect those of the buyers, the sellers, the real estate agents, or whatever the case may be. So one thing would be for sure is if you've got a seller who's calling in that says, hey, I want to change my wire instructions, the escrow holder has been instructed to say, great, hey, listen, I'm right in the middle of something. Let me call you right back so I can verify those with you. They're going to call back on a phone number that they have. And obviously, if the seller answers and says, I never called you, then they know that they've been able to stop that wire fraud right there. The other thing that I would really say is that if you are an agent, you want to make sure that you are never, that you're telling your buyer that you will, or seller, that you will never, ever, ever give them wire instructions, that they're always going to go directly to the escrow holder to make sure that you're not wiring funds, or that they're not getting something from you that is a scam. Want to talk to Shawn, talk a little bit about how they do it on Fridays.
Well, on Fridays, first of all, I want to just kind of underscore where we are in the San Diego market. These hackers that you're talking about have been schooled. They are really targeting these expensive, higher-end market properties. So they're really going after that. One of the strategies is Friday late afternoon, because Friday late afternoon, if that money is able to be extracted out of that in one of these hacks, there's a harder, a more difficult chance of them even getting that back because you're going into that weekend period of time. And two, people are kind of moving quicker as you move towards that weekend. So just the urgency of needing it, or somebody just saying to the fact that, hey, we're getting ready to get on a plane, we need you to make these changes right now, and they're actually calling in as if they are that client. So there's a lot of different things that are happening on those late afternoons and with that urgency to it, which is always a red flag.
Right, and evidenced by the fact that over $220 million has already been lost. So we just wanted to bring this to your attention and make sure you stay vigilant.
Yeah, and I think, Alix, to your earlier point, the one thing is up front. Sometimes people get a little uncomfortable, but you have to really take the time to school your clients on how this is being perpetrated in our industry. You have to tell them, if you ask them to jump through a couple extra hoops, it's for their benefit. If you're telling them, I'm going to hang up, I'm going to need to call you back, it's for their benefit. If you're, I think it's a matter of just, it's not an inconvenience. You're really trying to have their best interest at heart. And that's a really, it's become incumbent upon the agents to do that process.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today on You Have Questions, We Have Answers. And as always, on behalf of all of us here at Fidelity Title, We're grateful and honored to be a part of your closing team, and we take your safety and your transaction at the utmost respect and want to make sure you get to that finish line safely.
Thank you so much.